Hey everyone, what is going on? So I have another video for you today in the Spring Cup, and these are my battles that I did on stream. And I only used this team one time, then I went into Master League. But I did have a 3-2, so I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and do one more Spring Cup video for you. And yeah, I saw somebody, I don't remember who it was, hit legend with this team on Twitter, so I decided to give it a try. It's going to be Roserade with Double Water, Wolverine, and Lantern. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the battles. Unfortunately, I shield an Octazooka, and my opponent does get the debuff. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake right now because I am debuffed. I don't expect them to shield, and they do not shield. Now, my opponent's going to have to throw unless if they want me to reach another Earthquake, so my opponent is going to go ahead and throw. Good play. So Acid Spray, actually not enough to KO me, which does allow me to get off this Icicle Spear. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown the Icicle Spear or undercharged it so I can get that much more farm with Lantern. But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and go for the farm down right now. My opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. We saw Acid Spray, but they actually have Sludge Wave, so double poison moves on that Tentacruel, which is actually unfortunate. Out comes Trevenant. I'm going to bring in Roserade. And yeah, this is not happening, is it? I'm going to try to farm down. I do have to shield. I know it's Octazooka. I'm hoping I don't get debuffed. No, watch this. Watch this. So I do farm down. I have 2 Weather Balls. Don't ask me why, but I throw the Leaf Storm. Now, luckily, it doesn't matter because I couldn't get off 2 Weather Balls anyway. See, I fainted. So even if I threw the Weather Ball, I would have fainted before getting off the other Weather Ball. So it doesn't matter. But I have no idea why I threw the Leaf Storm. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. Okay, Roserade into Sea King. Not really good. Because I am taking a lot of damage. I mean, so is my opponent, though, right? My opponent's taking a lot as well. I'm going to go ahead and shield, and Icy Wind will KO me. So I'm going to go ahead and shield that. And I do go ahead and throw the Leaf Storm. I was thinking, well, maybe they'll think I'm baiting. And maybe my opponent will not shield. But no, my opponent actually shields. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out. I guess a bait would have been really nice there, but that's okay. I switch into Wolverine right now, and my opponent is going to go ahead and go for the Drill Run. Kind of expecting them to switch out, but my opponent is not switching out. Maybe Double Grass in the back. They don't want to battle the Wolverine. Who knows, right? So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to be enough to KO. I actually thought Sea King would barely hang on, but it didn't. Out comes Tentacruel. I'm able to bait right now, so I am baiting with the Icicle Spear, expecting a shield from my opponent. My opponent does shield, so that is good for me. Can I make it to an Earthquake? I actually cannot, but my opponent, they must have miscounted because they tried to catch an Earthquake, I think. I couldn't make it, so I threw the Icicle Spear. I guess they tried to snipe me. I'm not really sure. That was huge for me. Now I could bring in Roserade and throw the Weather Ball, which will be enough to KO. And now I'm going to bring in the Tentacruel. I'm actually going to... Oh, not Tentacruel. My opponent will bring in the Tentacruel, and I'll bring in the Lantern. And I'm going to be able to win this one. But yeah, that definitely looked like a loss to me. If my opponent didn't switch, I think they would have won. But as I said, maybe they miscounted. Maybe they thought I was at the Earthquake. They were trying to catch. I'm not really sure. But it worked out for me, right? So I'm going to be able to throw this Thunderbolt. And that's not going to KO, but I can farm down with Lantern. That's going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. Yeah, I haven't honestly really enjoyed the Spring Cup. I haven't played it too often, but whenever I tried it, usually I do really bad in it. I don't know if it's from the mistakes. The past couple of weeks have been tough for me. I'm not going to lie to you. But, you know, we're moving on to the Open Great League. We're moving on to the Open Ultra League, as well as the Evolution Cup. So hopefully I do better in some of those cups. I probably will. I'm pretty sure I will. Anyway, I don't necessarily call the bait, but I was like, well, I could take an Earthquake, but my opponent actually does bait. So that's great for me. My opponent is going to go ahead and shield that. And I was like, well, they baited once. They probably want to try and get ahead on energy, so maybe they'll bait again. And they actually do bait again. That is huge for me. So I go ahead and go for the Earthquake right now. And this Earthquake is going to connect, doing so much damage to my opponent with the switch into Trevenant, but I make it to that Icicle Spear right now. You love to see it. Icicle Spear is super effective, forcing the second shield. Now I can switch into Roserade. And my opponent can get off one Shadow Ball if they choose to go for Shadow Ball, or unless they bait with Seed Bomb. They do bait with Seed Bomb, so my opponent is all about the bait game. But regardless, even with that bait, I still make it to the Weather Ball before my opponent makes it to another attack, which will be enough to KO. You love to see it. My opponent is out of shields. Let's see what decides to come in. It is going to be a Tropius, okay. I could have thrown right away, but instead I actually allow my opponent to get off an attack. But it's a Leaf Blade, so I actually don't get KO'd. Again, another bait from my opponent. My opponent does catch this weather ball, but at this point we're looking pretty good. I do have a Roserade. So yeah, my opponent all about that bait game. Luckily, I didn't take any of the baits, I guess. So that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. Yeah, I know not the best games. Obviously, I played better, but still we're having Spring Cup. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. As I said, not my favorite meta, but it is what it is. It is ending soon, so we're moving on to other leagues, as I mentioned. So, gonna take that Earthquake. My opponent actually switches, so I do have a lot of energy right now. I'm going for the Icicle Spear. Now, is it better to go for Earthquake, or is it both of them are neutral, or is it better for Icicle Spear? I actually don't know which is more energy efficient, which is more, does more damage. I don't know which one is better. Is it Earthquake? Should I want straight Earthquake? Let me know. But either way, I get off that Icicle Spear. I could shield this and farm down, which I believe I do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one right now. That obviously would KO me, so I'm going to be able to farm down the Ferrothorn. And out comes Wolverine. I want to get to this Earthquake. My opponent will not allow me to get to the Earthquake. Very well played. So just going to let this one go. Icicle Spear going to be enough to KO. Totally fine. I could bring in the Lantern. Trevenant is coming in. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Roserade right now. And I think I attempted to throw a CMP. I'm not sure if I did actually. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and throw the Weather Ball. My opponent will go ahead and shield that. And I'm able to get to another one. That's very interesting. My opponent could have thrown the attack, but they actually throw on CMP. And Roserade wins CMP. So perhaps miscounting by my opponent, but that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and let this one go. It's actually going to be a Seed Bomb. Now, Seed Bomb doesn't KO, but they can Shadow Claw me down. So I bring in the Lantern, and my opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. I know I live a Seed Bomb. I live a Shadow Ball as well, so I'm going to go ahead and take that. And it was CMP, as I said, so going to be able to get off the Surf. Very nice indeed. The Surf is going to be enough to KO that Trevenant, and out comes Lantern. Basically, all I need to do is get to this Thunderbolt to KO the Wolverine. I figured this was going to be an Icicle Spear bait, but I know my opponent can't make Icicle Spear plus Earthquake, but no, it's actually just straight up Earthquake. That's probably why they threw straight up Earthquake, right? Because they can't reach the Icicle Spear as well as the Earthquake. So they were hoping for the nuke to go through, but either way, good game, well played to my opponent. I'm going to be able to take that one. Moving on, I believe this is the final battle, Roserade into Tentacruel. This is rough. Tentacruel definitely rough. I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Wolverine right now. And I'm going to go ahead and bait with the Icicle Spear, hoping to pick up a shield from the opponent's Tentacruel, but my opponent, oh, they do shield. I was about to say they don't shield. I thought they didn't shield, but no, they do shield. So that's good for me. I do go ahead and shield this because the Sludge Wave is a thing, and it is Sludge Wave. They did charge up for it. Out comes Mama Snow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my attacks right now. I do want to win Switch if at all possible, and I do have a lot of energy, so that's good. I'm going to be able to get off another Icicle Spear. Will my opponent decide to shield it? Will my opponent let it go? My opponent does let it go. Unfortunately, they do make it to an attack, and I do want to win Switch, so I am going to go ahead and shield this because I want Lantern on the Tentacruel. Even though they have Sludge Wave, they do have play. And if Tentacruel comes in, which it does, maybe they're going for the farm down, but I'm actually going to go ahead and bait again. I think this was a mistake. I would have won this game if I didn't bait, because my opponent is not going to shield that. I don't know why I baited. Yeah, that was a bad bait. I think that was definitely a mistake. Definitely a mistake, because now my opponent still has a shield. I could bring in Lantern. My opponent has Trevenant, but the problem is they still have a shield, so my opponent can safely shield this one up, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that Weather Ball, and my opponent will shield it up. A Shadow Ball easily KOs a Roserade. Roserade is literally made of paper, so Shadow Ball is going to be enough to KO me, and I can't take out that Trevenant, and I'm just going to forfeit that game. So again, as I said, 3-2. Could have played better, I think, but overall, that's okay. I don't know, let me know what you thought of the Spring Cup. As I mentioned already, it's not my favorite meta, but it's still a meta that exists, and it's a new one we got this season. But either way, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.